The last few years have been a shocking turn of events for me when it comes to agents. My assumption when Shattered Web released is that agents would be largely ignored by the community, and with each new operation, a new set would be released, and it would crash the prices for older agents. Surely, I wasn't the only one who thought that these would be worthless items when they came out, right? Obviously, people bought Ava because woman, but everything crashed instantly upon release. Who was going to buy an item that you never see in game? Who cares about a voice line when people barely use them anyways? Well, it turns out that people have a hand fetish. Well, to be fair, it's more of an arm fetish. The watch, completely clean, sleeved gray, sleeved red, and so on. And some agents have even become a flex, like the infamous Condom Man, and all of the Bloody Daryls, which are the most standout agents you can have in game. The mask does go pretty hard. At the end of the day, what is a skin other than a flex to the people around you? Is something you can't see yourself on the priority list? No. But if you already have all the skins you need along with a knife and gloves, you might as well grab an agent. Even more important today with the main menu and starting screens during games. Still niche, but another way to express yourself regardless. The question becomes, how much are you willing to pay for an agent if all you care for is combo matching or sticking out to the enemy team? Based on the massive market correction we had late 2024, I think under current circumstances, we found that limit. But circumstances change, and their mysterious disappearance with no signs of return might be the change that pushes prices higher and higher. A new set of agents did come out with each new operation. Shattered Web, Broken Fang, and Riptide all with their own collections. But we have had no new operations for years. CS2 was in progress, and resources were limited towards content at the time. Upon a rocky CS2 release and many updates later, we finally received the Armory, which at this point we can confidently say is our operation replacement until proven otherwise. Looks like an operation, has an indefinite runtime, farms money for Valve with a little effort over a long period of time. Must be the operation replacement. The issue is that it didn't release with agents, and the limited time item has since been removed with no replacement. There are rumors on how Valve will modify the Armory going forward. Will we see another limited item? Will the whole Armory change, or will they add on one by one? And will there one day be a slot for agents? The funny parts about Valve is that they don't say what they will be doing, likely because they don't know what they will be doing. All we know is that agents are missing with no signs of coming back. Definitely not the first concept that Valve has abandoned, like team graffitis, patches, operation graffitis, stickers that people actually care about. It's not uncommon for Valve to abandon a concept, but why have they abandoned agents? The one issue that we run into with agents is that they are non-consumable. You can apply patches to them, equip and unequip, it doesn't matter, that agent will always exist. When looking at something like Shattered Web, which was a very popular operation due to the 2-year gap from Hydra, along with the linear nature of rewards forcing you to redeem 4 agents of 4 different qualities for every 100 stars obtained, there are a ton of these agents in circulation. If we take a random skin collection for example, then take the lowest consumer grade rarity, go to CS Float to find total quantity, we can get an estimate. Skins used in trade-ups are not deleted from their database, that's why we're using the lowest rarity. Many of these higher grade skins were not unboxed, but instead obtained through trade-ups, so we just have to scale off of odds. I do find it interesting that the Navy Murano quantity has nearly a 100,000 supply lead on everything else. Considering how they were obtained, these numbers should be relatively even. Regardless, the odds of getting a consumer grade skin is 80%, so do a little bit of quick maths, and our total is about 3.25 million. But here is where it gets a little bit interesting. Over 3 million is an insane number, but there are 3 Canals collection drops per 100 stars. There are 4 agent drops per 100 stars. Total agent supply in theory would be over 4 million. Blue agents with 7 potential drops, that's about 144,000 of each. Purple agents with 6 potential drops, or about 168,000 of each. Pink agents with 5 options, or about 202,000 of each. and red agents with 4 options, or about 252,000 of each. Now these numbers are approximates, as working with such a large supply, CS Float does not give exact numbers. Each collection will vary slightly on total quantity. Not every agent will have equal quantity, as we saw with the Navy Murano from the Canals collection. And most important, not every person maxed out their stars. The scales would be bottom heavy, with a higher quantity of blue agents and a lower quantity of red, but likely not by much. On this old Reddit post, we can see that 62,000 red agents were sold on the Steam market within a week. These are only agents obtained and sold from people purchasing stars, as it was just the first week. So then we add on all of the agents sold on third parties soon after, all of the agents that were held onto, then all of the people who achieved their red agents naturally through completing the pass, and finally all of the other stars purchased the other 19 weeks that Shattered Web was active. Over 4 million agents seems like a very plausible number, and a very high number. Big picture, there's somewhere around 4 million Shattered Web agents. Broken Fang and Riptide agents were released in the following years, and while I cannot use the same method to estimate quantity, as these operations allowed you to choose specific rewards, based on market sale quantities, it's clear that agents took a backseat to skins. And this does make sense. Instead of getting all of the garbage, the YouTubers and streamers making videos about purchasing stars would have gone all in on skins. It's also not surprising that the average user would follow along, considering this entire game is built on gambling. And if you didn't want to gamble, you took the easy profit on cases. That being said, unpopular does not mean ignored. Although the player base for Broken Fang and Riptide was higher during their respective runtimes, let's conservatively say that 1 million agents were obtained from each operation compared to the 4 million from Shattered Web. That gives us a nice clean 6 million agents. Now we have to ask the big question. What is the community going to do with 6 million or more agents laying around? Remember that these items are non-consumable. The only way quantity can decrease is through inactive accounts, VAC bans, or trade bans. There are millions of unique players entering Counter-Strike every month. How many of these players actually stay? How many of these players are actually players and not bots used for farming? And how many of these players spend money on the game, let alone buy agents? I imagine that the average person would get the AK they want, then the AWP, pick an M4, then the knife, then the gloves. And then after all of that, probably filling out the rest of their loadout. And then when it's all said and done, maybe it's time to buy an agent. I don't find it surprising that agent prices crashed. Honestly, I find it more surprising that they ever spiked. And I guess looking at it that way, it's not overly surprising that agents have disappeared from Valve's item plans. I always held Valve, well, their economists, to a high standard. It seemed like they kept things fresh and always gave a way for the market to reward the users. My opinion of them has been tested with the way they absolutely destroyed the sticker market, not only with new stickers not being profitable, but by also killing some of the hype around Katowice 2014. Not to mention the recent stunt with heat-treated skins, which are essentially case hardens. But I think it's plausible to say that Valve considered the agent market to be oversaturated, and pushed them to the side for a while. I would consider 6 million agents a fairly conservative estimate. Even then, are there really 6 million people looking to hold or actively looking to purchase agents? The same way we threw all of our unused agents into a storage unit to rot, Valve threw their agent concepts into a folder to rot. Times could change quickly though. CS2 is seeing a player base increase, and not only a player base increase, but a new all-time high. Some of that's artificial, of course, but I think we can agree that the game is in a pretty good state. Rejecting CS2 in the big ol' 2025 is cope, unless your PC can't run it, or you spend most of your time on community servers based around movement. We could talk about narratives, investment potential, community influence, visual updates, mechanical updates, and so on, with other items in the game. For agents, it's all about supply, and considering China has already gone through their pump and dump phase already, ebbs and flows in agent prices should be tied to ebbs and flows in the player base. If Counter-Strike continues to grow, then the pool of players interested in owning an agent will also grow, With the existing limited supply, that will boost prices. And with prices climbing, that might just force Valve to consider adding more agents. If the player base stays stable, don't expect much to happen. Agents have been priced in, and while they will generally trend up, they aren't exactly an item that moves very fast. If you want to own one, you own one, and that's all that you need. And if the player base falls, you get the latter half of the graph right here. I can't imagine agents will be part of Valve's strategy to get people back into the game. So if for whatever reason the player base does fall, don't expect new agents anytime soon. Of course, this is tied to the idea that Valve balances the markets in a way to keep prices low enough that they don't exceed Steam value, without also nuking the item value too much. Recent decisions from them have made me doubt this perspective, but maybe Valve are just so busy working on massive updates that we can't even imagine, so they just don't have time to add more agents. Or maybe it didn't pan out the way they wanted to, and their interest in the concept has diminished. On one hand, the bans on agents in esports has slightly separated the pros from the casuals, which is very foreign for a game like Counter-Strike. On the other hand, they still haven't added factions like we saw in previous Counter-Strike games. If you're not going to give us agents, at least give us that. As for now, we wait for another update from our overlords. If the game grows, prices increase, and we still don't see new agents, maybe they truly have been forgotten.